Time has come once again to speak as witches and wizards and spirits do. I'm Daniel Dubois,
I'm Michaela Gaffinstone.
and we're your hosts for the Think Like a Wizard podcast. Welcome to season 6, episode 7. I don't know. I'll go with, you know what? This is what we're going to go with. Multiple planes.
Okay.
That just showed up. So, and
Been showing up for me all week.
yeah. Well, I was going to say, right? It's not a hard thing to figure out because Michaela definitely stepping into the multiple planes of existence, and I also had that part with me as well. But the reason it's a surprise is because this week I worked with the spirit of Bodb Derg, Celtic name, so however it's pronounced. He's the king of the Tuatha Dé Danann. Now, if that sounds familiar to you, it's because you probably watched Hellboy and the Golden Army, because they're named in that one. And in fact, if you've watched it, the king who gets killed, that's who it is. Not obviously as depicted in Hellboy, because one, his name translates into the Red Crow, and he's known for his red hair. Now, if you look up Red Crow, you're not going to find him. I tried. What you're going to find is a Indian chief, well, an indigenous chief in North America, because that's more recent history. Whereas the Tuatha Dé Danann are allegedly the people who lived in Ireland before the Celts showed up. And basically, and for as much space as you're going to take up, we did a spell like I've been doing every week for a hell of a long time. It was to help people find me, or those who need to find me, find me. And that's another spell that I had to brew for a week. So a lot of my weeks have still been just powering spells without being very active. So
it's interesting.
Yeah. He's going to show up every once in a while and probably have things to say. But the topic is multiple planes. So multiple dimensions, if you will, multiple realities. And
multiple versions of existence,
right.
However you want to term it. Because, boy, they're there. And when you travel between them, okay, so for anybody who's in that space right now, or you may find yourself in that space soon, I'm going to give you some advice that I could have done with before I got there. I seem to do a lot of FAFO. Anyway.
Yep.
So, first of all, do a protection ritual to protect yourself as you journey. And then be aware that whatever shows up, whether it's a path, a bridge, a highway, like whatever it is, go there. Go do that thing. Follow it. Find out what's there. Because everything you come across as you journey, it is all engageable. You can relate to it and discover what it's there for, because there is a conversation waiting to happen. A key thing is everything is an ally, right, that you'll come across, but it might not feel that way. So, you know, the way sometimes people come into your life to teach you a really shitty lesson, and you actually can grow from there, right? So it's not all the nice people that bring you the most important things. Sometimes it's the people who are not that nice. Well, in these realms, I'm going to do multiples here. In these realms, sometimes you can, even though you've done your protection, you can end up with something coming at you that screams no, right? to every sense you have. This is this is not cool, not okay. And your task at that time is to set your boundaries, your barriers, your agency, and say a very emphatic no. Fuck off, get away from me, whatever you need to say. But so everything is an ally, but sometimes allies can show up that way. And as you're leaving, this is so key, I can't tell you, but as you're leaving, you need to make sure that you inform everything that you've encountered that what does not belong with you needs to stay behind. And this will take some practice in your journeying, but it's important to leave things that anchor to you behind in their own space if it's not something that's meant to be with you, right? This is a separation so that you're not leaking your energy. And you'll know if you're leaking your energy because you wake up absolutely freaking exhausted, fractured into several pieces, and the whole day is out of sync and just weird, like the timing skipping in an engine. It's like that. So you'll know if you're leaking energy. And if you are leaking energy, then there's some cleansing practices you can do. But this is a lot to start off the podcast with. It's a big takeaway I got this week. When you're journeying between planes, be really careful that you're not moving stuff from one to another that doesn't need to go there. It's not your place to decide. So just offload every time you're shifting plane. Like whatever is new and attached to me that doesn't belong, you get to stay here and then leave it there.
Yeah, and that's all true and very good. It's interesting because, my dreams were purely dreams this week. None of the extra other bits of planes attached to them, but they were all about extraplanar stuff, except
Mm.
for one that I'm going to describe anyways because it was linked. Most of my dreams were linked, though. One followed the other. Like I reflect back on the other dream. So, unlike Michaela, where I didn't go traveling, but I have been in that position where you haven't quite came back. I was stuck, for lack of a better way of putting it, in a portal one time.
Right?
I had a hard time reintegrating. It was actually my friend's dog that helped me get back in play. But at first, the dog wouldn't come near me. The dogs looked at me and ran away and kept running away. And then eventually, the dog came back and sat with me until I reintegrated, which was interesting,
Mhm.
which made me wonder if either something didn't tell it, hey, go back, you know, you got this. Because it wouldn't come near me. It was like, what the hell's wrong with you? And kept taking off every time I got close. Only two, yeah. So one, you know, never poo-poo a potential ally, right?
Right.
And yeah, just be careful that. I mean, this was a kind of a. This was under the days when I was still with my trickster teacher, and it was definitely something my trickster teacher had done. So there's those things. You never know who's teaching you what, right? Uh,
Yeah, not every lesson comes in a nice bouquet of
right,
flowers, right? Not everything comes warm and fuzzy. And I think a mistake that people make is wanting to avoid avoid the darker stuff, the shadow stuff, and only have the light, the warm, and the fuzzy.
right,
But you have nothing to measure it against or understand it by if you avoid the darker stuff. So the shadow side of things is extremely important. And you have to know when to let it go and leave it where it is and not bring it with you because it's not meant to come with you. You can do the work there. You don't have to do it here.
right. So it's interesting, and that so Bove, whatever, was is pushing an idea. And this is an idea that's been sitting with me for a while. Don't journey in fear. Doesn't mean you don't go to scary places, but don't journey in fear. The idea being the people right now coming into their own, you're the first wave. You are the ones who are going to be, the adults with the following things. So you need to stand with your secure in yourself, with faith in yourself.
Yes.
So even if
Yes, and you have to be secure in yourself. And the thing with fear is the opposite of fear is awareness. So if you go in fear, then you're not aware of what you're doing, what you're there for, what's coming to communicate with you. So that it's really not a good place to go from. It's just you're wasting your time and probably losing some energy in the process.
right. Or I will add that if you're not using your fear properly, fear is just there to make you cautious. And so if you use it properly and don't let it overrun you, then fear will have you be paying attention and trying to figure stuff out.
Problem with that though
Yeah.
is if you look from a place of fear, you look through a lens
Right.
that is distorted in a way that's unhelpful, right? It will shut down as a way of protection and security, right? It's a sort of safety mechanism of, uh-oh, no, let's not do that. Boom.
Right.
And the hair trigger that that has might not serve you. So if you can move along the spectrum from fear to awareness,
Yeah.
and the way to do that is I have this wonderful image.
Mm.
There's like a rainbow bridge,
Right.
and the vehicle that you travel on is called courage.
Right.
That's you're literally sitting on top of
Mm.
courage, and as you travel across that bridge, the further you go, the more fear stays behind, and you travel to
Okay.
awareness. Then you can carry on your journey. That
Yes.
image literally just came.
Yes. That's
Kind of
kind
like
of
it
what I'm
though.
trying to shoot for because, like, I'll use this example again, right? When you watch a horror movie, everything is scarier until you know what the monster is. It could still be scary after the monster shows itself, but once the monster shows itself, you now have an idea of what you can do. It's like once you have an idea, like, bleh. So the idea is once fear rears its head, thank it for making you aware that you have to pay attention to something. And then, if it has nothing else to give you aside from telling you you need to be aware of something, then thank it and let it go.
Hmm. It could be interesting to ask the fear, where does it belong?
Right.
Because typically, and again, a lot will depend on your human design here as well, but the fear may well not be yours. So whose is it and why is it coming to talk to you? Because remember,
Yes.
everything is communication
Hmm.
and everything is an ally, no matter whether it's showing up nicely or not. So what is it here to teach you? Because that's what being an ally means, is
Right.
it's coming to give you something. And in this case, it's in form of awareness, typically. It's a new knowing that you didn't have before you did that journey. Can you tell I've been doing a lot this week?
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting time when you do those things. Like, I'll throw in one of the dreams I had last night because I had kind of a weird thing. So, following the, oh, it's time to come back because you've been journeying for too long kind of thing. I also had, and it was just a dream, but it was basically the same setting that Brother Wolf uses to teach me stuff. It was talking to me about, or it was trying to get me to master what I needed to understand about journeying to different planes. I didn't fully absorb everything, but it was okay. This is a portal. This is where a portal is. This is how you can use this portal. This is how you use that portal. Kind of an idea. And we're trying, like, I guess, okay. Bluntly stated, some of you are going to start traveling. Like, if you haven't already, you're going to start traveling. Spirits are going to come to you and go, hey, it's time to do things. Like, it's really time to look into the world, not just like this world, the one you're seeing with your material senses in your sensory bubble, but the adjacent stuff that's going to help you with what you need to do going forward. And so Yeah, just be ready for that. Yeah, so this is a different kind of spirit. More kind of try to get straight to the thing rather than play around with the telling stories and stuff like that. That's interesting.
So grounding before you journey is helpful. And one of the easiest ways to do that, the most accessible, is spending 5 to 10 minutes just focusing on your breath. Just breathe however it seems good to you, but focus on the breath incoming and outgoing, where you feel it, how is it in your body, you like all the aspects of it. And this is something you do in Vipassana meditation as well, as you focus very much on the breath. Um, but doing that for, if you can do it for 5 minutes, that's really cool. And then just see as you sit there with whatever comes in, chances are there'll be some rooms that open up, for example, or pathways. And whatever calls to you, go there, right? If it's really pulling you, go there. But also, as you're doing your breathing, bring in your intention for what are you doing? What's the journey for? It's I don't recommend a fuck around and find out kind of journey, particularly not for your first one,
Yeah,
because you will and you might not like it. So, let's not start off giving yourself a hard time. Have an intention. What do you want? Um, be clear about that, which we've said many times, but now we're saying it in terms of journeying rather than in terms of a physical magical practice that you're doing. It's the clearer your question, the clearer your intent, the clearer your answer will be. So, it's a good idea to go seeking something, whatever that is, whatever appeals to you, and then go with the path that shows up. Then know that something shiny, something squirrely might show up off to the side there. And if it's a distraction, you might want to just have a look and see, is this a distraction or is it taking me where I need to go? And if it's a distraction, just, if you want to revisit it, leave something with it so you can find it again, a bit like a
right,
breadcrumb trail, but leave something there so that you can relocate and go back to your intention. Because if you get scattered, you are going to lose your energy. You're going to leak your energy all over the place and you will be absolutely knackered for days. Like the distractions are there to teach you not to be distracted, right?
right.
So, yeah, having a focus of intention before you start while you're doing your breathing can be a really good way to get into this path.
Hmm. What are you feeling right now, Michaela?
What am I feeling right now? I'm still a little fractured.
What I'm getting. So Love's decided to play multiple layers of reality.
Uh-huh.
I can like my third eye feels like it's like you can't see my hands, but it's like I got my arms
Uh-huh.
spread as far as they go. Like my third eye feels really huge and like I'm like shifting planes with it.
Uh-huh.
I don't
So
see
I,
it,
I
I'm
have
just
like
feeling it.
different bits are in different places.
Mm,
It's an analogy I used earlier for Danielle to picture it was back in the day, you used to use these egg slicer things. You'd put a boiled egg on it and then pull the handle down,
yeah.
and these blades would slice up the egg for you. And if you take that sliced egg and you move each slice a little bit in a different direction, so they're not all on the same plane, if you will, that's pretty much where I'm at.
Mm. Yeah,
Different
because what I
places, not as bad as it was, but still kind of way.
yeah, because he's open gate upon gate upon gate upon gate, like using your
Uh-huh.
analogy, there's a whole bunch in a row. And so
Yeah.
like in front of me at least, through my third eye, there's like this long multi-dimensional tunnel. I can't see what's at the other end of it yet, but and I don't know if I'll see something by the end of the episode, but it's like,
Uh-huh.
wow, I can feel it. I can feel the opening. Yeah,
Yeah.
so definitely this is taking a turn not for how my week started because my week was more about, well, cast spells for people to come and find me. But by the same token, right, my dreams were still made with multiple reality shifts, but they were just dreams, though. They weren't actually reality shifts. They just felt like dreams. They didn't have that
Mhm.
quality that I want to put the stark reality to it, for lack of a better way of expressing it. I always find the difference between a normal dream, basically, and an astral travel is that there's a crispness. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it. There's like a very reality to it.
Yeah, I don't know that it translates well into a description for somebody that hasn't done it yet.
Right.
But when you've done it, you'll know. It'll make sense then.
Mm.
And that's not trying to be gatekeeping or, coming out with nonsense. It's just some things you have to do in order to know what they are. And this is one of them.
Well, that's one of the things I've been thinking about this week. It's the I am like I'm not just fed up with politics. I'm fed up with all kinds of stuff this week because
Mhm.
every time we pass a threshold, right, it's always the okay, what do I put behind and what do it take me going forward? And a lot of times, well, like social media is long since gone. Like I still check it out because it's reality and I still want to see what people are up to. But like I can't unsee it. I can't unsee reality. You know what I mean? When people give their takes, like, oh, people reacting to situations, people talking about things, it's like your analysis is agenda driven. Your analysis is barely surface level. Your analysis really shows me how dishonest you are. It's like Jesus Murphy. Like I can't even pretend. I can't even allow us the illusion of pretending that you're giving me something brilliant or something honest or
I
and
think there's another level to that,
yeah,
which is stepping out of that, talking planes and,
right,
shifts, stepping out of what people are saying and looking at the bigger picture of how how did all of this come about? And I don't mean recently, I mean on the long trajectory,
right,
like since patriarchy first began, for example, and the stories were told, and the lies were told, and the restrictions were imposed, and so on and so forth. And what was that? Like, there's something way back when, way, 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 way back, Dark Ages and further, what was that? Like, where did that come from? Because it has led us to where we are now.
right.
And I think unraveling that will help us know where we're going next.
Mm, yeah. Because like my current
Because we
big
have
beam,
to we have to influence where we're going next.
yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah. My current big bee in my bonnet is whenever because now I get more stuff of like I'll put it new age stuff, you know. People who think they
Uh-huh.
have the lock on like you have religion who thinks it has a lock on spirituality, and then you have the new age who thinks that has a lock on, spirituality.
Hmm.
But one is essentially something that might have amounted to just giving you a way of life has now become a system of control, and the other one is basically fad. I have no idea how to
You
best
know what?
describe the
Fad
new
is a
age.
good word. Fad is a really good word. And I think also there's a lot of posturing and hey, I'm further on the evolutionary ladder than you are kind of deal going on. And I see this a lot in people who are doing sort of quote unquote spiritual posts, and they'll say, we're not here to wake people up. We're here because, we're ahead of everybody else. And some of us are here to evolve and some aren't. And very divisive language even
Right.
still. And that also jumps out at me as being incorrect. Like it seems like it's no better than the rest. It's just different language, but it's the same divisiveness.
Hmm.
And I really feel that if you think you've got it nailed, you think you got it down for your spiritual practice, then you need to double back to the crossroads and take a different path because that's probably not true. I don't think any of us have got it down. We're just doing the best we can with what shows
Right.
up. But if we had it accurately, we probably wouldn't still be here. So, that's I don't feel like I've evolved to the point of bodhisattva. So I don't think I'm here because I've got it all perfected and I'm here to light it for other people. I'm just trying to be one step ahead of those who need somebody to be one step ahead,
Right.
and alongside those who want someone alongside, and anybody else isn't really in my field. You know, it's not to say they're better or worse, they're just not, you can't be for everyone, right? So those aren't my people.
Right. Well, and that's very much a thing, right? And that actually ties into a lot of things I was going to talk about today. But my pet peeve constantly over and over again is like everyone is missing the fundamentals.
Yes.
Everyone is putting the dressing on. It's like, but you're not even at that stage where you should be having dressing on your stuff.
Right.
You need to be at the fundamental level first. Like, I do, people ask me like, oh, how do you talk to the dead? I go, start talking. Just start talking. If you do it enough times and you're sincere enough times, you'll hear something at some point, even if not right away. Because as you're doing it, right, you're letting your brain get rid of stuff, all the stories you're telling yourself. Because as you're trying to talk, eventually you'll pick something up. But
Mhm.
it's never really taught that way. And I don't know if there's someone out there who's teaching it that way. That's fine. That's good. It's basically you just have to get out of your own way. You're part of it. You're in that flow. You're part of that. You're connected to that frequency. Everything about you allows you to communicate. It's just you not accepting that you can do it. Basically, that sounds a bit too reductive. I mean, there's layers of why you can't hear,
Yeah, but a
but
big part of that is the control from,
right,
religion and governments and so on and so forth. And all of those tell you that you can't,
right,
right? And if you're told often enough, young enough, long enough that you can't do a thing, then typically you can't, right? You'll
right,
believe the story. That's where a lot of people's limitations come from. They say, "Oh, I've got this self-limitation on something," and it's like it kind of is a self-limitation in that it's part of your story, but you got it from somebody else. You're not actually limited as a person, um, only by the stories that you accepted from other people. And I have no idea where that was going, but it came up. So there you go.
right. Well, I'll use this instead of saying psychic stuff. When people ask me, "Can you teach me how to draw?" I say, "Well, here," and I'll give them something simple, a ball, an orange, maybe even a glass of water. And I'll say, I want you to spend at least an hour, put as much detail as you can into it. And then a lot of people don't want to draw for an hour. I'm like, okay, well, then if you don't want to learn how to draw, that's fine. But the idea is that all I'm really showing you is how to pay attention to what you're looking at. So you pick out relevant details that make you recognize it as whatever that is, a glass, a ball, an orange, whatever. Like I don't actually say, okay, hold it this way, hold the pencil this way. It's like hold it however you'd like. Just observe this for an hour and try to reproduce it as best you can, right? Because I want
Mhm.
them to recognize the pathways they're using, the skills they're bringing out in themselves, rather than tell them you have to do this, this, this. Here's how you draw a knife. No, I don't care because nothing is perfect and nothing matches. I can tell you a human being is at least seven of their own heads tall, but I don't think that works with everyone. Some people have tiny heads, some people have really big heads, so that doesn't really work. And oh, and people are like three heads wide, you know, within like in their chest. So it's like, well, okay, but then go out in reality and look at people, you
Yeah,
know,
and they're not.
and they're not. So I don't do any of that. I just say, take this and look at it. Take and put down as much detail as you think and try to reproduce that detail as much as you can. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm not going to judge you on your work. Just do it and show it to me when you're done. Right. And then you usually get a pretty decent drawing from people.
Yeah. I think one of the issues, and rule-based stuff comes to mind, but one of the issues now is people want to be told how to do things and they want to be given the guidance and the rule books and so on. these are your parameters here. You're safe within this. Do it this way. Um, and really, if you want to tap into your own abilities and if you want to tap into what's available for you in the environment, in the various dimensions, the planes, whatever you're working in, if you want to tap into that, you have to let go of all of that stuff because all of it is artificially restrictive. That you might feel that these guidelines and parameters and hold the pencil this way and draw it that way and look for this thing and don't look for that thing, you know, it might sound like you're getting solid guidance that will help you get to the end result. And up to a point is the answer for that because it will get you to a result. It won't get you to your result.
Right.
And that's the difference. And it's a very key thing to consider. Might not sound like I'm saying a lot right now, but think about that. Where you have rules that hem you in and directions that tell you where you must go,
Right.
then you are limited from everything else. You can't do any of the other opportunities. And how do you know that you're not missing the thing that's most valuable for you or the thing that will lead you to a path where you can contribute in a very meaningful way, right? If you only follow somebody else's path, you'll get somewhere, but it's not going to be particularly valuable, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah.
We got a deep episode today.
Yeah.
Deep.
Well, actually, I didn't know because I didn't know how long this episode would last. I didn't even have a clue. I was like, is it going to be like 15 minutes? Brev comes in, says, here's the thing, boop, bye. I had no idea what to expect. And I didn't try to expect, but I will share this, right? So last night when I went to bed, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not doing anything except for powering spells right now, and it's really, really boring. And I feel like I'm not doing anything, right? So I'm like, okay, just like when I go to bed there, give me some dream guidance. Just give me something. And then I was like, no, screw that. If I'm powering a spell and I need to rest, I'm going to rest. And you know what? If you need to tell me something, tell me something. If you don't, that's fine. I'm just going to sleep and take the rest I need. Right? I said, you don't have to do anything for me. I'm going to go to bed. If there's something to say it, but I'm not asking for anything. I'm going to bed. Right? So that's when I had the first dream with Brother Wolf. And Brother Wolf was tagging on the dream I had before about, traveling to different planes and that. And so he was like, well, this is how you really control it. That kind of thing, trying to give me a breakdown of how to do it. And then I woke up like 5 in the morning. I couldn't fall back asleep. And then eventually I fell back asleep. And then I dreamt, and this is where it gets not weird, weird for me. If you're me, you know it's weird for me. But so I end up, while I'm dreaming, I'm thinking about the dream I had with Brother Wolf, you know? And I'm
Right.
like, oh, that's really
Okay.
interesting. I'm like, oh, and do it like this. And then I realize I'm not in my house. I'm in someone else's house, right? It's a nice white, pristine. Got that, you got white versus the dark, either like a black or that kind of uh, furniture
Monochrome
and aesthetic.
minimalist thing.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, oh, this is a pretty nice house. What the hell am I doing here? you know? And I'm like, okay, I know I was invited, but I have no idea who invited me. And I know I've been here for probably 3 weeks. That's like in the dream, right? I'm like, it's weird. So I'm looking around for clues and I see like a pair of women's shoes, like really nice shoes. Like whoever lives here has a nice house, really well put together. They're well off kind of thing. No, like, but I don't know why I'm here. And so as I'm looking at the shoes, the person comes in. And it's someone that like I know, but like not someone who would invite me to their house, like, not ask me to stay for like because I have no like as far as I know, it's an indefinite period of time because I've already been there for 3 weeks, but I've been there for two, and then they went on a business trip and told me to stay and we can hang out some more when they come back. And I'm like, I don't know anyone like that, right? And I definitely don't know any women who like that. So I'm like, this is weird. So I'm starting to feel kind of weird, right? She walks in, she's all like totally casual. It's like, yeah, this is just what it is, and there's no expectation on nothing. It's just this is cool. I'm like, all right. And I'm trying to think like, but what am I doing here? Like, because I don't remember anything before realizing I was in the house in the dream. Like I said, like I'll get a dream where there'll be a consequence, and I have no idea how I got to it, and I just have to deal with the
Mhm.
consequence. Well, this is a similar setup. I'm like, I'm just in this house and I don't know why. I don't know what brought up to it. I have no clue. I have no idea what's going on. But I'm in this house and this woman's like, just like very casual, like totally like my being here is the most natural thing in the world. I'm like, all right. And then she goes and changes because she just came back off flight, whatever. She comes back, she's in a bikini, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Who am I to complain, right? And she's like, I'm just gonna go, get some sun and then we'll do something after. And I'm like, all right. And then she walks up to me because she has to reach get something behind me. And I'm like, and she doesn't ask me to move, she just reaches behind me. Pleasurable part for me, one of her boobs rubs against me. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but what the hell? Like, we don't know each other like that. What the hell am I doing in your house for this long? And why do you not ask me to move when you want something behind me or ask me to get it for you? You just feel so comfortable that you can just rub up against me and whatever. I'm like, what the hell is this, right? And my brain's trying to go like, what's going on here? Because I don't, as you as you know, part of my thing is like if I don't understand, I'm trying to figure it out, right? And then the wheels start turning. I'm like, what the hell is going on, right? I'm like, I don't get this. But and she looks a bit annoyed at me because I'm like, what the hell, right? Because like as if I'm harshing the vibe, whatever. Like this perfectly chill vibe we had for the last 3 weeks, whatever. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So then my brain is like in overdrive now. She goes and lays down, and I'm like, okay, I have no idea why I'm here. I don't know why she's so cool about everything. And I'm like, now what the hell do I do? I don't even really know where I am. Like I know who the person is, but I don't know enough information, right? So now my brain is trying to figure things out, and I go, okay, well, in the very least, I should probably go talk to her then, right? Because I don't know what else to do in this situation. And she looks at me again, like, dude, like I'm just relaxing here. Why are you looking? Like, what are you all excited about? you know, it's been chill for the last 3 weeks. Why are you so excited now? And then I end up waking up because my brain is like, what the hell is going on? But I wake up and I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm trying to control the situation because I don't know what else to do. All that basically to say, you're in a strange situation. You don't know what's going on. You don't understand why it's the way it is. So you're trying to control it. And for some of you who follow my social media, you may remember the post where I said, I'm learning what everyone else is learning about me. I'm difficult. I'm like, this is why I'm difficult because I'm trying to control the outcome without knowing what's going on. And it's making the situation worse because I'm not letting the situation be what it is.
It's
So
a
I learned,
funny thing about control,
right.
because the more you try and have control, the less control you have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run that one more time. The more you try and have control, the less control you have. It's it's not something that we're meant to have, right? Like it's control is an illusion anyway. What are you controlling? There's always external factors, and
Right.
when there's external factors, you cannot control it, right? It's impossible. It's hard enough to control ourselves
Right.
in every way, shape, and form, let alone control situations which inevitably involve other factors. So it's an interesting journey that you could go on to explore why am I trying to control this? What happens on the other side
Mm,
of letting go of that effort to control? Because you're not even letting go of control, you're letting go of trying to control.
right.
And that would be a very interesting place to go. Like what is it trying to teach you?
Yeah. Well, if
Ask
I'm
the questions. Why am I here? What's this for? What do
Mhm.
I need to know?
Well, I know for me because it was you had asked the question last week after something I had said, and it kind of made me think, but it showed up in that dream, that idea of why you're trying to control things. It was the all right, I'm gonna try to organize this or not. However it comes out, it'll come up.
Trying to control it?
Yeah. So, right, because I was trying to figure out, I'm not trying to figure out, all right. This is the joy of on a spiritual journey when you got to hit something that you're vulnerable at. Sometimes it takes time to get focused on it because you're trying to get past all the defenses that come up. So, my big idea, right? And intellectually, I understand this idea. Like, Yeah, because the question was, no, I can't remember the question exactly, but so I'll just say this. Obviously, I have to say something, and all the other ways of trying to express
Just
it.
go with it.
Right. So
Just go with it. What have we got?
I'm here to help women hit their next plateau, hit their next whatever, do their opening. I had always wanted to not be limited in that way, to just say, whoever needs me, right? Because that's part of what we had discussed last time. And why am I fixed on that? Because remember,
Is it women or is it feminine energy?
feminine energy is a better way to put it.
It's not necessarily women then,
Yeah. Although
because
it's most likely women.
well, the majority probably would
Yeah.
be, but I mean, if somebody said to me, "Who do you know that works with feminine energy?" You are one of the people that would come to mind,
Mhm.
right? And you are clearly not female, so and I don't
Fair
think you
enough.
have any aspirations to be so. Um, so yeah, yes, the obvious is that it would be women, but just by saying that, you're not
Yeah.
limiting yourself.
Right.
But feminine energy is open to more interpretation and more fluidity.
Right. Yeah. So intellectually, I understood the idea of, well, you have to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. Intellectually, that all day long, I can tell you that story, repeat it left and right, upside down, backwards, forwards, whatever. Right. But inside, my brain still says you have to be open for everyone. But it's like, but that's clearly not the case. And I know from my history that's clearly not the case. Not that I haven't been open, and I have worked with men, but that's not the point of it. The
I
point is
don't
to
think you
make,
have to be open for
right,
everyone. It's just not being closed, which
right,
is different, right? If you're closed, then there's an intentional shutting off
mm,
for a particular group or a particular person. Whereas if you focus on those that you're available for, others will be drawn into that net,
yes,
right? And so it's not so much who you're not here for, or it could be like you could do it that way, but I think it's more um you're more available
right,
if it's this is my focal point and whatever's drawn to that comes, right? Like my go-to deity, if you will, is Lilith, and this is not
right,
secret. If anybody's listening to the podcast, they know that. There are men who work with Lilith, but she's primarily for women, however, not exclusively, right? So you can be primarily going in this direction, but the exclusivity of nobody else is allowed is, then you get that shutting down
right,
energy.
yeah,
And I think there's ways of filtering for people who are ready and who aren't. In my coaching practice, I want to coach people. I love coaching people. It's like it's my happy space, man. I love it, love it, love it. But people have to be at a certain stage for me
right,
to be able to coach them. And I don't want to spend my energy and my time on someone who's not in that space. Not because I'm dissing them or wishing bad on them, but
right,
just if you're not ready to do the things, if you're not available for what's next, then there's no point. And I'll happily give that person resources and send them on their way, but I'm not going to spend time with them. And that's basically what you're also saying.
yeah,
But you don't need to control exactly how that looks
right,
because
yeah,
you'll do it in the moment.
right. Well, see, like I said, that right. I understand intellectually. I know when the moment comes, I'm going to be working with whoever I work with. But a part of
Right.
me still feels like it seems like it's wrong to not work with people, even though I understand intellectually. I need to get to the people who need to be gotten to.
Okay, so excuse me a sec. This is coming up for you. Interesting, my throat goes at the same time. Just a moment, talk amongst yourself.
Yeah. So I'm like that sometimes. I'm
Okay,
difficult
that
on
was
myself.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, talk among yourself.
Mm,
So I'm having an interesting time with this concept here. But okay, generalizing, hey,
mhm.
I work with everybody, I'm here. And, on social media, you see a lot of, I
Right,
help everyone with. When you are general like that, then you're not actually for anyone.
right,
If you're for everyone, you're not for anyone. So figuring out your focal point in this plane or the next, figuring out your focal point simply helps you know which direction you're going in, and those who are traveling the same way will find you.
right. Yeah. Well, and I'll
And
say
that's
it.
the difference.
Yeah. Because a part of me, because I see the videos directed at women in this field, and it's like, women are adults too. Like
Mhm.
they can deal with shit. And so I don't
And
want to be
some
branded that way. But
Right, and you won't be because you're not that way. I saw a gem yesterday. It was on social media, and somebody calling themselves so and so the healer. Like I can't remember the full title. What drew my attention was this person, female, I think, was having an argument with a guy
right.
underneath that post. Say she made a post saying, we're here to ascend and lead the way, and we're lighting the path for everyone else, and all this wonderful new age speak, right? But then in the comment section underneath,
Mm.
this guy had said, well, um you support keeping pedophiles safe, and you got no business talking about healing. And she responded with a rather rude response and said, well, research shows, and newsflash, people know it freaking doesn't. But anyway, research shows that more Democrats than Republicans are pedophiles. And I could not go past this one. And I just jumped in and said, what the fuck are you talking about? One pedophile is way too many, and it doesn't matter what
Right.
party they're on.
Yeah.
Where are you in this? What are you doing? But this person is promoting themselves as a healer and as someone who does spiritual work. And I have got
That's
to say, I question this. I don't think so. Now, maybe they're a wonderful spiritual healer, but honestly, I don't see how you can be when your stance is you have more pedophiles than your group has more pedophiles than my group.
mm,
Like, wow, way to miss the point.
yes.
And there's a lot of that out there. So people who get drawn in by that, they're again being misdirected. And it's so difficult because those are some of the worst misdirections, right? They're the ones who
Yeah.
claim to be on the path that they're absolutely not on. You,
Right.
you cannot be supporting pedophiles and have a higher calling.
Right.
That's not a thing. And there
Right.
is no excuse ever, period. There just isn't.
Right.
So,
No, you're right. Because like I'm stuck in the world of yes, you have to use the technology. Yes, use social media. Like even the spirits I work with are like, yes, have a social media presence. Yes, use it. It's a tool. Just because other tools are using it, quote unquote, doesn't mean
right.
you can't use it properly. And so I'm like, okay, but I'm still working on the okay, but the bulk seem to be this way, and but again, right? It's the
Trick
letting
is to
go of stuff.
standing out.
Yeah, and like interestingly enough, next week, as of this uh, recording, anyways, actually, when this is out, I'll have already had the meeting. I am talking with someone who just wants to give me a few tips on what to do going forward on it. But
What
I'm
to
like,
do going forward on what?
social media presence.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was. I haven't posted it yet, but the last podcast I was on, she also has a business of helping people in the spiritual field, putting stuff out. I've been to a few things with a bunch of different people, but she was like, just we'll have a chat. Don't worry about it. I'm like, all right,
Mhm.
let's see what ideas she has. But yeah, like it's the okay. I got to use all these tools and these stuff, but it's like, but I don't want to say everyone, you know, we're not the only ones doing this, but it seems like a large majority of people are just selling a business, or just it's a business. That's it. Like the spiritual half is just happens to be the business.
It's an interesting conundrum because here's the thing. Money is neutral.
Right.
It has no emotion. It's not here to do you harm or to do you good. It's simply an energy exchange that man has decided upon, right?
Hmm.
It's an artificial creation. So given that, and given the fact that we need to use it in order to get the things we need for living on this
Right.
planet, it's been demonized typically by the people who have it and don't want others to have it,
Right.
or don't have it and want to feel better about that, right?
Right.
But there's a lot of very weird ass stories around it. And then you take that and step into the realm of, well, I'm helping other people and I want money for that.
Hmm.
And a lot of stories come up. I have been in spiritual containers where they've opened it up to, people who aren't usually there. And
Hmm.
you see comments like, well, if you're spiritual, why are you charging money?
Yeah.
Because I'm still on the physical plane and I gotta eat, like what kind of lame-ass question is that? But it's when people try to make money and they don't really have a sort of heart and soul type
Right.
business, right? Like what they're bringing to you is a little more superficial than that. And so really they're just saying, hey, come and get my free thing. And then, come and buy from me. And there's the energy of desperation. And they
Right.
try and dress this energy of desperation in a spiritual hat, right? And it's untrue. It's a facade. It doesn't work. If you
Right.
just, take your sleeve and shine it a little bit, you'll see that it just wears away. It's not really a thing. And you can know that. I think you can feel when the energy is true and when it's just a grab for attention, right? It's like
Right.
this is the thing now everybody wants. Let me do some of that. I mean, I work in the human design space, but I do it very differently to anyone else I've encountered in human design. But I see people saying, hey, be a human design coach for just $7 and I'll teach you in a week. And it's like, oh, wow, what
Mm.
what is this person doing? Like that is a very okay, full disclaimer, what can you learn in 7 days that's in depth? Pick a subject, anything. Can you learn to be a chef? Can you learn to be, hell, can you learn to lay a road properly in 7 days? Like
No.
all the aspects of it? I don't think so. So those kind of things are out there and it muddies the waters for everybody else. And then the other gem that you have is people who have had one experience and then they say, oh, hey, I can teach this to other people.
Yeah.
But they've had one experience or one moment of enlightenment or one, vivid dream or something. And now suddenly they're guiding everybody. These are, well, the words false prophets came to mind, but they're certainly distractions, right? Like they're the squirrel. They're not your path.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm like stuck between the world of, okay, you got to use the social media stuff, but you have to stay, for lack of better expression, down to earth.
Well, the people that want that will find you.
Yeah.
That's the thing is you what's lacking for so many people, I think, in the social arena is honesty. Integrity is a word that gets bandied about
Yeah.
willy-nilly, and I don't think people know what it means. Authenticity is the same. These words are overused and underutilized, right? Like they're authentic so long as everybody agrees.
Right.
And then as soon as somebody says, you're full of shit, they're like, oh no, let me change what I'm saying. Um,
Yeah.
like it's fair weather stuff. Um, and that shows up. I honestly think that shows up. If you really stand for who you are And what
Right.
your path is, people will find you.
Yeah. It's funny you said because like this week I was so tempted to sign up for a bunch of courses. One was a evidence-based mediumship, psychic detective course, and a spell mastery course. And I'm like, I just wanted to see. So I don't think they were charging
You don't
anything
need
really
any
that
of
much.
those.
What's that? Sorry.
You don't need any of those.
No, I know. I just wanted to see what they were offering. I was curious as to like evidence-based mediumship. I'm like, if you're correct, you're correct. If you're not, you're not. Whatever. But it's not about being correct. It's about having the proper information, whether people interpret it to give you, like, you know what I mean? Like evidence-based mediumship. I'm like, you get whatever it is you need. Like just because you can't go out and get a spreadsheet and compare everything doesn't mean you didn't get the right information.
So the term
Yeah.
evidence-based is used in behavior analysis, for example,
Right.
which is one of my strings, right? One of the things I do. And evidence-based means somebody else has done some research, published it, had it agreed upon, and now it's called evidence-based.
Mm-hmm.
So how that applies to mediumship, I am not entirely sure, because just like human design, when it comes to mediumship, you tell it to the person and it's up to them to prove or disprove it, like not for anybody's benefit other than their own. If I tell you you're human design and you say to me, well, I don't recognize that, that's crap. Well, okay, let's have a look at it and see why it is. But
Right.
that's not generally my experience. And it wasn't your experience when we did your human design, right?
Right.
So do I have to prove anything to you? No, because you know what's true. You know how it lands and you know how to interpret things. Mediumship is the same way. So how can you possibly have evidence-based mediumship? It's almost an oxymoron.
Right. And then there was what was there? Oh yeah, there was some guy, well, he's probably around my age. Just I shaved my head, so I don't know how white my hair is, but I know it's not completely white. You can see it's dark actually. But yeah, and he had like a big long jack trench coat on there, and he's like pulling his tarot cards out, and he's like being all dramatic, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And
Well,
he's
somebody
teaching
likes
tarot,
that
and I'm
though.
like, I teach people tarot too, but I don't run around with the big
Right, but
flamboyant
that's
gestures and the
but he's speaking to someone, right?
yeah.
Somebody likes that. They like the flair, they like the drama,
Mhm.
and hopefully he's giving them something that's
I
accurate
hope so too.
despite the fluff, right?
Right,
And that's fine. He can do his thing, and you being down to earth and just saying how it is as it comes up
right,
is your thing, and people will resonate with that, I think. It's trying to do it somebody else's way
right.
gets in your way. So I'm glad you didn't sign up for those courses because I think it would distract you and muddy the waters a little bit. And if
Right,
you try to bring on somebody else's way of doing things, it gets in the way. It's that rule book thing again. It's that whole
right,
you got to do it this way because I said so. I have 4 degrees and that's wonderful, right? And actually I had fun getting them. I got to say, I did enjoy the process. But what it actually tells you is that I have a level of ability where I can learn what somebody else has decided and I can give it back to you in a form that has been deemed acceptable,
right,
right? That's basically what it is. Does it mean I'm good at what I do? You have no way of knowing. Not I could have a 4.0, which I do. I can have that. What does that tell you? It means I'm really anally retentive about getting that top score. This is true. I was. So it doesn't tell you how I can apply it though. And it
right.
just tells you that I know this other person's information.
Yeah,
So it's cool. It's also extremely expensive to go that route.
right,
Is it the be all and end all? Not even close. Honestly, not even close. If anything, it's a distraction because people, when you do their degree, they say, okay, forget everything else, just focus on this. This is this is all you need to know. And that's a lie. That's not true. Experience is experience that has been transmuted into wisdom is
right.
worth more than any degree.
Yeah, yeah. I hit the thing I have to work on. But so yeah. Sorry for the pause there. Uh, so I know how I do things, and I know my way of doing things is letting other people is basically helping people bring it out of themselves, right? To help guide people to their thing.
Mhm.
So it's not like I do actually have outlines for courses and stuff that I've ran people through, but I've never finished following through them because it's not what the person needed.
Yeah.
So I know in the end is the my job is just to basically, if you sign up for anything with me, it's like okay, well we're going to spend X number of hours just me helping you get out of your own way, and there's no structure for that because whatever you need is whatever you need. So my big issue is going, but I'm going to charge you a ridiculous amount of money because no one else does that.
Well, no, you can also create modules for the foundations
Right.
that are pretty much how they are, and
Yeah.
then the time with you is on the individual stuff.
Right.
And okay, the thing, I'm not sure who needs to hear this besides you, but anyway, we'll go there. Um, the thing with the money that you charge,
Yeah.
it's not a question of how much you're worth,
Right.
because you're worth all the money, right? It's
Right.
not a question of your value, because of course you're worth all the value, right?
Mhm.
Like that's not it. And it's not even what the market says.
Right.
It's literally what feels right to you for what you do. And whatever
Right.
that is, if you can hold that number, if you can ask somebody, look at them straight in the
Mhm.
eye, this is how much money it costs, then correct. That's the correct amount for you, whatever it is. You know, there are people out there charging $75,000 for a year
Mhm.
with them, coaching with
Yeah.
them. Are they worth it? Yeah, sure. Because here's the thing, too. And this is an important thing about money for anybody that's listening. Consider this when you're choosing a coach or a guide, and also when you are exchanging something, right? Think about money in this way. It's you need to charge enough so that you are not resentful of the person
Right.
you're working with, and you need to charge enough that that person will show up for themselves. If I said to you, I'm going to give you human design for $50, you're going to show up in a certain way.
Mhm.
If I say to you it's $500, by crikey, you're showing up in a different way. And you're going to be probably early and you're going to take notes and you're going to ask questions and your attention is honed because this is valuable to you.
Right.
You have committed a certain amount of energy exchange,
Right.
aka $500, right? So that's why when people charge little money for coaching, they also get little clients. They don't get a whole lot, and they get the worst clients. They get the ones who nitpick
Mhm.
and don't show up for sessions, etc., because the energy exchange is off. It's
Yeah.
uneven.
Well, and that's
So
that's totally true.
when when somebody's a freebie seeker, they just want, what can I have that's free? What can I have that's free? They are not committed to whatever it is they're asking for. Not at all. And I don't care how broke you are. If you really, really want something, you figure out how to get that. And you might exchange your services for somebody else's.
Yeah.
Like that's a totally legit way of doing things, right? Bartering, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an energy exchange. So, I'm not saying, hey, everything's going to cost you big bucks, suck it up, buttercup. But at the same time, if you shortchange yourself, if you sell yourself low, your
Mhm.
time low, that's where people will value it.
Right. It's funny because when I used to be a door-to-door salesman of gourmet food of all things, driving around in a freezer truck and selling stuff door to door. But one of the things that the boss told us is like, this is what you do, man. You take your product and you exchange it with someone else's product. Use both, didn't pay retail. You charge each other the retail price, whatever, in your exchange. But then you get it for whatever you're actually paid for your product. So, if your product sells for $30, but you only paid 15 for it, and you exchange it for something from someone else for $30 and they paid 15 for it, you both paid $15 for what you got, right? So I was like, oh, that is a good lesson to learn, right? So I learned a lot
I
from the
mean, it's
door-to-door salesman.
literally, when it comes to an exchange of services, for example, if you really want what the other person does and they really want what you do, then even if you don't both charge the same money, the exchange is still equal.
Right.
or at least it's acceptable, it's within range because you're both happy to do that exchange, right?
Hmm.
The problem with messing with it, and this is for somebody who's hiring a coach as well as somebody who's being a coach, if your money is off, if you're not charging enough, the person cannot receive what you're giving them.
Right.
And that's a really important thing because they won't show up properly for it.
Right.
You know, if you're hiring a coach that's $75,000 for 12 months, how are you going to show up for that coach? Right? Are you
Potentially,
going to do the
hopefully.
homework they give you?
Yeah.
Are you going to listen to their every word? Are you going to pay attention to the nuances that this person's bringing to the table? Damn straight you are. What
Yeah.
kind of an idiot would you be not to, right? But
Right.
if that same person said, okay, you know, just for you, I'll do it for $50 a month, yeah, you're probably not going to show up. You're going to like half an ear. You're probably scrolling on your phone while they're talking to you and whatever else, right? Because that's how invested you are.
Hmm.
This is human nature, and this is the nature of energy exchange.
Yeah. No, that's completely true. I completely agree with you. When I was charging less for stuff, people didn't show up. People would, or stop and didn't show up at all. And it was like, all right, fine. Next time I'll just charge you more. And now I do charge more.
And it has to be a level that you're not resentful of, because if
Right.
you're resentful, then that shows up in the practice. And I think this is a problem with some of those spiritual guides that show up on social media is, you know, when they say, I'll teach you human design for $7, what do you think the energy exchange is like?
Yeah.
Because I can assure you, human design is a very in-depth, many-layered process that's got so much to it. You can't teach diddly squat for $7. Like you can't.
No, and I wouldn't. I don't know why you would do that.
Right. So what's that energy exchange like? And the person who's prepared to pay seven
Sending your
dollars
data
for
to
it,
someone else.
right? But I mean that you if you're the one that sets, oh sure, you know, that's excuse me, that's worth $7. Is it? What level are you working at?
Hmm.
Right? Like, what are you bringing to your clients and how much are you going to ask them for? Oh, I did this thing for $7 in a week. Now I'm going to charge you, you know, 500. I don't think that would work, do you?
No.
That's not going to fly because the energy's off, way off.
Yeah. I know I had thought to myself one time my price was going to be whatever people were willing to pay. Like I was going to ask, what would you pay for
Mhm.
this? Right? What would you pay to have this success? And then if, whatever number they said, that's what I would charge them. And if they thought it was actually too high, I'm like, well, why would I charge you less than what you thought it was worth? But yeah.
You can do that at some point,
Mhm.
but people have to be more aware of your value when you do
Right.
it.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's,
my current thing. How much brand awareness, basically, to use marketing terms, do I have?
well, anybody listening to the podcast who's currently wondering why we're talking about money, and honestly, I don't know. It's just what's coming up.
I know why we're talking about it, and I can tell you. Because the people moving
Well,
forward from today, listening to us and doing, actually taking that role of helping other people, they have to know this stuff. They have to know the value of
yeah,
what they're doing and the exchanges and stuff like that. So there's actually,
and
and
how to do the
yeah,
exchange, right? Because honestly, I think everybody that's become a coach has at some point charged stupid money, right?
right.
Really low, like just ridiculous.
Mhm.
When I first started, you know, you get the imposter syndrome. I mean,
Right.
I first started coaching in 2008 for crying out loud. But, you know, when you first start, it's like, well, who am I to charge big money? You know, $30 is great, thanks. And they show up $30 worth, which is not a
Mhm.
lot. And then you get frustrated and how many people do you need to work with in order to make that work?
Right.
So now if you've got to have 30 people in a week, well, that's crazy, right? It's more of an exchange of time for money, which isn't a good energy exchange at all. And now you're overwhelmed. you can't show up for any of your people properly, and they're not paying enough for them to show up properly. Everybody has a bad experience. That's how
Yeah.
that goes, right?
Yeah.
And so you learn, well, that sucks. I don't like how that went down. So now what's your next move? And then you start playing with numbers that you can't hold. And here's the thing, if you can't ask somebody for that amount and feel it in your body that that's a good amount, then it's not a good amount. Try again, right? And you might
Yeah.
need to work up to that, but you got to find your level, right? Like my human design has been at a certain level for a while, and I am now at a point where it's jumping up.
Right.
And it's not because I'm being greedy, it's because of the value I'm bringing.
Right.
That's what I feel congruent for asking. So, it's a thing, and that's how it works in the real world, right? People want pay raises, people
Right.
get charged more money in the grocery store, etc., etc. There is no reason for a spiritual person or a coach or a guide to do
Yeah.
otherwise, right? In fact, it's more important that you charge enough for them to show up. So if
Right.
somebody listening to this is branching out or they're trying a new venture or something, consider what would you need in order to show up properly? If I said it's something's $100, you show up one way. If I said it was $1,000, you feel your body shift, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, now I'm paying attention. Like, okay, what's this? What's this? In what way is it worth $1,000? And I'll let you into a secret. A big part of how things are worth that much is how you show up.
Yeah.
Because you'll do the work, you'll apply the thing, right? You can go from cheap course to, freebie session to whatever else. You can do those things. Man, you could do 3 a week for 10 years and you'll be no further ahead. Why?
Right.
Not because the people weren't any good, but because you didn't apply anything they said, because you didn't think it was worth it.
Right.
So I'm just saving whoever's listening to this and taking it as I'm telling it to you, you're getting a big leap in your business, a big leap forward because these are important, hard-won lessons.
Right. I'm gonna add this because it's been sitting on my head. So the idea of imposter syndrome, right? One of the things I was thinking about, right? Because I had said to you, right? Use right one more time, right? Okay. I don't think I used it enough in the sentence. I had said when you were
Right?
feeling disjointed, I had given, yeah, I gave you the advice of, well, a dog helped me get back, so spend some time with your pets. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, if a pet can do it, how much can I charge, right? But but the thing is, but I'm very much under the impression that the pet didn't do this on its own. The pet was kind of inspired, if you will, you know, to do it, to help me out. So saying it like that, saying, well, if a pet can do it, but the thing is, someone still has to do it, and someone still has to have resources to do it. No, that's not the right way to go. I got stopped.
No, the way it is you need to know that that's what works.
Right,
It doesn't have to be you that's doing all the things, but if you can tell the person that that's what they need to do, that's your role, right?
yeah. Well, that's the thing, right?
That's
Because
exactly right.
yeah, because I do live in this world of there's no, I don't want to say there's nothing set, but essentially there's nothing set. So whatever happens at the time, that thing had to be there. And if you want to use the word miracle, fine, use the word miracle. Then that miracle happened, and that miracle is worth something. So
Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
I think you're getting lost in comparing your personal output to the guidance that you can bring,
Right,
right? And comparison is pointless for one thing because you do things differently. And again, this is for anybody that's listening, don't compare yourself to how other people or other beings do things because you're not doing it that way. And if you are doing it that way, bloody well stop and go figure out what your path is because this
right.
is what we keep telling you. You got to do your own thing.
Mhm.
You're not here to do somebody else's thing. That makes what you're doing unique.
Right.
So there is no comparison. And when it comes to who am I to charge X or who am I to say Y, point is when you're deciding what to say, if it helps, say it. If it's coming up and you need to give it to that person, then that's correct, right? And the rest is immaterial. You don't have to evaluate your modes. You don't have to evaluate um, how much you're doing versus how
All right. I
much you're
agree.
guiding, right? The other person able to apply. Can the other person take what you're doing or what you're saying and use it?
Right.
Will it benefit them? If the answers are yes, then you're on the right track.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you're still trying to control
Yes.
the value of things and who's got what where, pigeonholing things, right? Like, well, if I'm saying go hang out with the dog and that'll sort things out, therefore I can't charge for it. Like, how? Why? Where does that even come from? It wouldn't occur to me to think that because
Right.
it's not what you said, it's the fact that you said it.
Yep.
You knew that and you passed on that knowledge.
Mhm.
That's worth a lot.
Yeah. It's funny because I've been thinking about this, and I am getting reminded of remember what you were like. If if you would ask people to describe younger me was very much that I say what I want to say, I flow where the flow goes, I do what I want to do. I have no sense of time. I don't care about time. I do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. No regrets, just doing. Right? That has always been the describer of me, with the occasional moments where people would describe me as Spock because then I become hyper analytical and virtually, apparently, emotionless. I don't know where that comes from, but whatever. And so, but that part that doesn't bother to analyze anything, that just goes with the flow and just follows what's happening. Not, sorry, that's not the exact proper way. The one who follows the flow. Like, and as in, I mean the spiritual flow, not as in what everyone else is doing, but as in the spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reminder on this podcast for both of us has always been maybe our vocabulary is not like other people's vocabulary. And we've come to terms with using words certain ways that other people aren't used to, which also came up for me
Yeah,
this week.
yeah. I try to explain what I'm saying
Yeah.
though, so that it can be received, but which is why sometimes I'll say the same thing in different ways
Yeah.
because different people will receive differently. Um, but the key thing here is don't focus in on what your value is because there is no number on that. Like it's your uniqueness
Right.
and if the person needs it, they'll come and ask you for it. And they'll find you by you lighting a beacon, by you showing, hey, I'm over here. This is
Right.
what I do. And if social media is where the beacon goes, well, that's perfectly fine. That's
Yeah.
that's where people go to find people, right?
Right.
So it is what it is.
That's the thing. So yes, my social media is the beacon.
Sure.
And then in my head, I'm trying to do, oh, you're supposed to do A, B, and C, but that has nothing to do with what I'm trying to do. There's nothing to do what I'm being asked to do. My material side is just saying, well, if you're going to be online, you might as well do A, B, and C. And it's like, I mean, looking at my videos, obviously I'm not doing A, B, and C, but in fact, they
I
won't
would
let me
say
do A,
check
B.
your motivation. When
Yeah,
that comes up, check your motivation. Is
right,
it I should? Is it I ought?
right.
Is it a sort of, well, if I do this, I'll get money?
Hmm.
Because if it is, you want to look at that and sort of, okay, is that how I want to get money though? Is that the energy exchange that's gonna serve me that I'm gonna feel good about?
Right.
Because I can assure you, money at any price is not a good thing. I have a day job,
Hmm.
and as soon as I'm able to not have that day job, you can bet your ass I'm not going to have that day job.
Right.
I get paid well. It's not a problem. Yes, I can do it, and it's not I'm not badly paid or anything, but it's the energy exchange is
Right.
not one I'm happy about.
Mhm.
I feel like I give way more energy that, in fact, they could not compensate me enough. That's the thing. My pay is already more than double what I was getting before,
Right.
and that's cool, but it's nowhere near enough.
Right.
And the reality is there isn't a number that would be, because that's not, I don't get my soul food from there. I don't get the satisfaction, right? For me, the work I do as a coach and guide is,
Mhm.
yes, I want money for that. Of course, I have to pay a mortgage and whatever else, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I want that energy exchange. I want that other person to bloody well show up. If I'm going to be giving you my energy, you better show up. So that there's all of that involved. But also, absolute full disclosure, I love to see the other person get that aha moment and that, like, oh, got it. This makes sense now. That's my soul food, right? That's the thing that feeds my soul, makes me happy. So you can't put a price on that.
Yeah.
So when
It's
it's
good that we
missing,
spoke. Well, it's good that we spoke about this because someone had asked me a question one time, and it was, "Oh, so how did they word it?" I'll give you my answer anyways. Their question was something like, what's it like being a wizard or something like that. And I answered, well, there's a lot of very powerful wizards who are homeless.
mhm,
And kind of saying that it's the not being able to, all right, fine, not that wording. A lot of people, some qualities of, no, that's not the joys of working with
let me try.
spirits. Go ahead.
Let me try.
Go ahead.
A lot of people who are very potent in the spiritual world could be wizards, could be witches, could be shamans, any number of
Right,
things. They are human and fallible, and they buy into the story of, I cannot truly be spiritual and charge money.
right.
It's bullshit. But even highly developed spiritual people will buy into that sometimes. There's a guy, Lord, if I can remember his name, but he is known as the medical medium. And he's got at least 8 books out. And this guy is hugely respected, and he comes out with some amazing things about food that's medical, right? Like if you want to do a liver cleanse, do
Hmm.
these things. Excuse me, he's not claiming, I'm a doctor in this and I got that. He's a medical medium.
Right.
He's also very poor.
Hmm.
He doesn't have any money because he gives his stuff away all the time.
Yeah.
So if that's his journey and that's his story, okay. But I think he would do better. And in other words, he'd be better received if he
Mhm.
didn't do that.
Right.
He'd be even further afield, but maybe he's just not able to hold it. He's not able to be, who do you have to be in order to charge that amount of money?
Right.
Because chances are, if you're looking at something that makes you uncomfortable right now, you need an identity shift
Right.
first to become the person who can hold that. See,
Yes.
I'm giving you coaching right now. I hope you're showing up and paying attention because it's important. You
And
can't sustain anything that you don't identify with. If I said, I want to be a runner, okay, it's probably going to sit in the language of, I want to be a runner. Nothing's going to happen.
right.
But if I start putting my shoes at the door and I have my outfit ready and I say, I'm a runner who gets up early in the morning and runs every day,
Right.
I identify as a person who does this behavior, I'm more likely to do it, right? If I
Yes.
say, oh, I want to run and it's raining outside, you can bet your sweet tush I'm not going for a run today because it's raining outside. But if I say I am a runner who runs no matter what, then yeah, I'm going out in the rain, right? There's an identity shift that needs to happen.
Yes.
And that's true for anybody who's moving up and on from where they are right now. And we are all on the planet to evolve.
Right.
So whatever you're stuck in or you have bottomed out at, if you
Right.
will, whatever aspect of your life has been the same for the last 5 years, or you've got a pattern on repeat, you have the same relationship over and over again with different people, but they always go dysfunctional in the same way.
Hmm.
That's something that you need to address. You can move on from there. There is a cyclical pattern that's not serving you, and the reason it keeps happening is because you haven't learned the lesson yet.
Right.
And that's where you have a guide or somebody like that that can help you.
Yeah.
Happens to be my specialty, but these things, when you're stuck in something, whatever it is, there's your clue right there. You have to evolve from the identity you have now to the one you need in order to move on.
Right. Well, that was the point of that dream I had with the being in
Okay.
that woman's house. It was like for 3 weeks everything was cool, but now because you got kind of stuck in the oh because the mindset I had, right? Because it was like it's one of those things where I should have known I was dreaming, right? But I didn't clue in. And so I still had the reaction of like, because if I was following the dream, then even at the beginning of the dream, I was like all cool and in the same vibe of like, yeah, it's cool. I'm here. I'm supposed to be here, kind of a thing. And so I knew directly, like, okay, this is telling me something. Like the minute I woke up, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I know exactly what was going on here. It was me trying to control something, realizing I didn't have to control it. So it's like, there's your answer. Just do what needs to be done because I'm the one of the big takeaways for me was the person in the dream was like, "What are you being weird about? Why are you being weird about this? This is how the thing flows with us." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I was trying to take
But do you
control of it.
see? Do you see that in addition to trying to control it, your identity was a mismatch? Because what you said, if you listen to this episode again and the listener listens to the episode again, you'll hear that when you first described that, you kept saying, "Well, why am I here? What am I doing with this? Who am I to be here?" kind of
Right?
thing.
Yeah.
You were very much, I don't know this person. You commented on how nice the house is, the nice
Yes.
shoes, how amazing she looks in her bikini and all the
Right.
rest of it. And it's like, I'm out of place. Who am I to be in this environment?
Yes.
Okay, there's your identity shift right there. Who are you not to be in that environment? What,
Yeah.
why? Why can you not be in that environment? Those aspects of your identity need an upgrade,
Yeah. That's
right?
what came to me
Because
when
if you
the dream was
don't,
done. Yeah. When the dream was done, I was like, "Why did you go there? Why did you do those things? Like this person invited you. Why didn't you think you didn't belong there if that person was clearly fine with you being there?" Yeah.
well, also, why would you be there if you don't belong there?
Right.
And who do you need to be in order to belong there? Like, how do you need to be?
Right.
How do you need to feel about yourself in order to be okay to be there? And that could be a metaphor for business, actually.
Right.
Like you're looking for this level of business, and yet you can't let yourself go there because who are you to be there?
Right.
Well, there's your work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay, people, you're hearing coaching in real time, but I'm going to say you need to do a stream of consciousness journaling on this to discover who do you think you are now and who do you need to be? What do you
Yeah.
need to change? And the sentence I'm going to give you
Right.
is raise your standards.
Ah, yes.
Raise your standards. That's for the listener as well. Like, look up, for fuck's sake. Don't be a deer, look up. What else is there that's possible? If you only look down at the ground, that's all you're going to see. You're still in the same space, but look up. What
Yes.
do you need to shift? How will you embody that new level of you?
Right.
What does that Boy, I'm giving you some coaching today. So what does that level of you do? How is your day structured? How do you dress? What do you eat? What are you thinking about? What kind of music do you listen to? What is your environment like? The person who is making that kind of money, who belongs in that environment, live it, like embody it, contemplate it daily. This is how I am. These are the things that I can smell. These are the things that I can see. Go through all your senses.
Right.
How are you showing up in your day that you're not doing right now? Are you getting up earlier? Are you attending um, social media workshops, like whatever the hell it is? But what are you doing as that person, that version of you that you're not doing right now? Because as soon as you start to figure stuff out, you start doing it.
Right.
And that's how you get there.
Yeah. Well, that message has been, like I said, right. The thing for this year was know yourself, be yourself, love yourself, whatever, all the other stuff. And that's been my year. And actually, that's been my last few months, was exactly what you said, was the look up, raise your standards thing.
Mhm.
And so I have been, and it's been interesting. But yeah, really everything today is just really the tail ends of things I'm trying to shed because they're not quite let go yet. Even today, before we came on, I was listening to I Can't Make You Love Me by Bonnie Raitt. But then I followed it up by Golden from K-pop Demon Hunter, and I noticed the big difference in my mood before I came on the call.
Well, when I'm working with kids with autism, one of the things that I tell their parents very early on is please stop looking at everything your child does through the lens of their diagnosis.
Right.
Put the diagnosis on a goddamn chair somewhere and just let it rest, right? We don't need to use that like a Captain
Right.
America shield. It's great for getting services and for knowing what books to read. After that, put it down. Now let's look at what's possible for this child. What are we going to do? And if the behavior is an issue, okay, it doesn't matter why.
Mm.
It matters what. What else would you like to do instead? And this is applicable to all of us. If you're at a certain level and you don't like it, cool, excellent. What else do you want to do instead?
Mm.
Because there are ways to get there. And that's how I guide and mentor people
Right.
is let's find out what you want to get to, and I'll give you some options for paths and guide you on the ones you choose, because that's what we're here to do,
Yes.
right? But you have to start to embody who you are at that level now, because that's when you reach that level. It's we have a lot of things asked about face, right? Like we often think, oh, well, you have to be motivated in order to get somewhere. No, you have success, success, success. That motivates you. Like
Right.
motivation kicks in later. It's not the first thing, which is why people fall down a lot. Diets and stuff. Like, no, 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 no. Motivation is not your number one tool. God knows it isn't. It's the thing that kicks in and gives you a little boost now and then. It's a spark plug, it's not the
Mm.
engine, right?
Right.
And we get that mixed up. And so then a lot of self-talk is, well, once I've lost 20 pounds, then I can do XYZ. Or when I've got this amount of money, then I can do ABC. No, do ABC and the money will come, right? Act XYZ and you will lose the weight.
Right.
We have it backwards.
Hmm.
And this is so key. I can't underline it enough because if you keep trying to do it backwards, it doesn't bloody well work. And that's why we have this endless diet industry, right? And that's why people get onto cycles that they just repeat, 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 repeat. And they wonder why. And then this narrative comes up of, oh, my life sucks. Every time I try and do this, it doesn't work. It's because you're trying the same bloody thing, right? Like, of
Yep.
course, it's not going to improve if you're not changing what you're doing.
Right.
It can't happen. And the change has to be you. You know that there's that saying out there a lot that I don't think people understand when they read it, but it's be the change you want to see. That
Right.
is actually accurate. It's what I've
Mm.
just been telling you.
Right.
Broken down, that's what that means, is you have to embody that. And before you can do that, you need to break down what is it that I need to be doing? What will I do as that person?
Yes.
Do that. Spend your days in that way. spend time with those people, because that saying of you are the sum of the five people most close to you is
Right.
true. So if you've got people who hang out at Dunkin' Donuts or Timmy's and eat donuts all day, and you want to be a slim marathon runner,
Yeah.
you are not with the right people.
Right.
They are not going to help you get there. And that's what being a social creature, which we all are, that's what that means. You hang with the people who are heading in the same direction, right? If I was ultra Christian or something, we wouldn't be doing this podcast together
Fair
because
enough.
we'd be pulling in different directions,
Yes.
right? We're not pulling in the same direction when our views are so wildly different. So if your lifestyle isn't the one you want, who has that lifestyle?
Right.
Hang out with those people. Start to spend time with them, and you'll find that you start doing the same things they're doing or similar, and off you go on your path. Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
So I hope the listeners got a whole heap to think about, and you're welcome for the coaching.
Yeah.
Having said don't do it for free, but this was just, these are downloads that were coming up and they needed to be said, so they were said.
Well, I was gonna say that's even though we called this episode multi whatever dimensions or multi-planal, well, because like that is what's opening up. But this whole half of it, well, it's more than half, but this part of it, yeah, it was necessary because this is the time of doing. So anything that'll help people do, it's what works.
Well,
Is
also the
that?
things I'm saying,
Yeah,
it applies everywhere,
right.
right? Everywhere. So if you want to be a witch,
Hmm.
what do you envisage doing as a witch? What is your practice? Again, do you get up early in the morning? Are you out in the forest at night? Like, what is it that that person you wish to become does? Start doing it.
Right,
That will get you there. And it works for anything that you want to work on. So, this plane or the next, or the one after that. Like all of these things, you need to be the person for that journey.
right.
So
Yeah,
it really is a lesson in seeing what we've been taught is very often backwards, very often backwards. It's, people will work hard all their lives saying, oh, when I've retired, I'm going to travel. No, you're probably going to die, like, because you've worked your ass off all your
right,
life. And you get to that point where suddenly you're not important anymore because you don't have your job title
right.
and you kind of give it up and die. Did you
Yeah,
travel? Did you do the things you wanted to do? Are you counting on your health being really good at that point so that you can travel? Because what you want at 20 is not what you want at 50, 60, 70, 80.
right.
So if you're wanting to travel at 20, you might want to move your ass.
Hmm.
Go do it. Figure it out. Right? Like and yes, it is that easy actually. I mean, personal story was I really wanted to leave the UK. Um, I wanted out of there, and so I became a tropical diseases nurse, which is a really good plan if you want to get out of the country, right?
Hmm.
And when I left with a backpack, an airline ticket, and $20. I kid you not. And I have not lived in the country since. That was a long, long time ago. I went off to Bangladesh for 6 months and I stayed for 3 years. And, and off it went in that way. Did I
Right,
have money to travel? No, I didn't have any money at all. Did I have a game plan? Not really. It was like I didn't know what was coming next, but I knew something would. What I wanted was to travel. So
right,
if you really want a thing, focus on it. Who are you to do that? And I don't mean, who am I to do this? I mean, who do you become to do that?
right.
If it's really something you want, then go do it.
Yes. You know
We
what?
all buy into these bullshit stories of I can't do that. That's for other people. That's for people with money. That's for people with, I don't have a degree, so I can't do it.
Mm,
I have a degree, so I can't do it. Like, whatever it is, it's like,
yeah,
okay, whatever you put in front of the so I can't do it is twaddle.
right,
Unless you're in a wheelchair and you want to be a ballerina. Chances are that is a stretch and you're not going to be able to get there.
right.
But what else could you do?
Till someone invents wheelchair ballerinaing or whatever.
Or you could do choreography for
Mm,
someone, or there's a number of things you can
right.
still do. The dream isn't dead, it's changing,
Yep.
right? And it only dies if you say, "Oh well, I can't because da 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 da." Then you're right. Right? If you're going to let somebody else's nonsense limitation stop you, okay, it's a choice.
Mm,
I don't recommend it, but it's a choice.
right. All right. So what I'm getting here is that people need to remember this, so we're good. I think this is the end of the
Okay.
episode. So we're good.
Yep.
So remember what Michaela said. Listen to this episode a couple times if you have to, but really take it to heart to focus on what you actually want to be. Not what other people tell you to be, but what you want to be and what you need to do to get there.
Who are you as that person?
Right. And so that's where we're going to leave it so that we don't over stimulate you. We
There's
don't over.
actually a lot of information in here.
Right.
So I would recommend, if you've heard us this far, download this puppy and listen to it as often as you like. Bookmark certain parts of it that you want to revisit and hang on to it because there's a lot of coaching there that I wouldn't normally put all in one session, maybe, depending on the person. Um, there's a lot of hard-won lessons that will benefit you.
Right. Also, before we go, so Missouri didn't really do this for us. They didn't like tell us why we were getting so much listens in Missouri, but I'm going to try this again. Texas, what's up with you guys? Especially you guys in Leander, Texas.
Okay, cool.
I could also ask the same thing for Blackpool. I just think it's a few people who have signed up. But anyway,
Blackpool,
thank you
very,
guys for
very
listening.
cool.
Yeah. And so, once again, I'm Daniel Dubois.
I'm Michaela Gaffinstone.
Until next time.
Until next time.